What's up, everybody? Welcome to Real with Omar. Today's special guest is somebody I met during a pretty intense time, and we'll get into that. My guy, Joey Rodriguez, CPA or enrolled agent.
I'm an enrolled agent.
But you're like a lot of things. You're
Right.
you're an enrolled agent,
Right.
Realtor.
My husband's a realtor.
Oh, your husband's. Oh, my bad.
Yeah.
Sorry. Oh, wait, well, let's get to that. All right. So him and his husband have the same last name, which led to more confusion on my side. All right.
Of course.
Welcome to the show, man. Welcome
Thank you
to
for
the show.
having me. I'm
Absolutely.
so happy to be here.
Absolutely.
All right, let's get into that because, everybody, especially when you're not in the tax business.
Everybody wants to know.
Everybody just, says CPA.
What's the difference?
And I always love to
Let's
explain.
clarify it.
I always love to explain it. And I'm, shout out to my CPAs out there. I love you dearly. But for me, it started with really wanting to have, I thought I wanted to work for the IRS.
Okay, that was the original.
That was my original
Okay.
thought process. I worked at a tax office since I was 16 years old. I've never not worked.
Family in the business?
No.
Okay, you just happened to walk into
somebody that knew the owner said, "Oh,
he's good with numbers."
my nephew, give him a little internship," and I was a gopher.
Right. And
I ran to the mail. Well, back in the day when we would mail tax returns, still,
yeah.
well, I'd go to the
When we used to mail checks,
I would go pick up the Snapples and the beers for the accountants in the office. I was the gopher.
This was in the Bronx.
And this was in Yonkers.
In Yonkers.
I'm
Okay.
born and raised in Yonkers.
Born and raised in Yonkers.
And my career started there as well.
Okay.
I went to Fordham University, and when it was tax season, I would purposely change my schedule so that I was in school all day for like 2 days out of the week, and the other 4 days I was at the tax office.
So you were immersed in that culture.
I
right?
just, what it is. My mother was a business owner.
Okay.
She owned a restaurant. I was raised in the restaurant. I was raised in the
hustle.
in the hustle.
Yeah.
And to me, the working at the tax office was my escape from the restaurant.
Okay.
Because again,
Understood.
I don't know how to properly boil water. Like I don't know my way around the kitchen.
We talked about this way. You born with certain things, but not that.
I love food, and I can tell you the ingredients of everything. But when, and what kind of also led during this time, my mom was struggling with again, single woman, immigrant from, English is her second language. And she was struggling, and she trusted an accountant from the city at the time. And I came back from spring break. My first time ever leaving
You were in college.
country. Yeah.
You were in college. Okay. So you had any experience.
I was 18,
Right.
and my appendix ruptured. So now I'm
On spring break.
I'm in the hospital. No, well, when I got back home.
Okay.
So, we're in the hospital, and she gets a phone call from the restaurant saying, you have people trying to serve you.
Mhm.
And mom was, what are you talking about? It was workers' compensation.
Okay.
They had this secret shopper, and then come to find out that when the accountant helped her with the policy, which goes back to my comment of I'm not a jack of all trades, and
We talked about that.
I'd rather keep it that way.
Yeah.
He helped her with the policy, and for years had her down as one employee only.
Okay.
So what did they do? They went 1, 2, 3, 4, 5, 6. There are 6 employees that we counted. $86,000 in fines later, $10,000 in legal fees, 2 strokes, and Chapter 7, and she loses it all. Wow! All because she trusted an accountant that spoke her language.
Trusted blindly. Yeah. Yeah.
So when I decided that I wanted to be in this industry, I looked at my options, right? CPA but I was already doing taxes. So I emerged in that culture.
Okay.
I belong to an association called the National Association of Tax Professionals. I recently joined, within the last 5 years, I joined the teaching team for the New York chapter of the association. I've met wonderful people, and I've met a mentor that pushed me in saying, get your enrolled agent status. Okay. This gives you the same representation powers that a CPA and an attorney has in audit. You represent your clients in all tax matters. It's going to be hard. And she's out in Brooklyn. So she was tutoring me personally for the exams. I was driving from Walk Hill, New York to Brooklyn.
Wow.
I would get up at 5 a.m. to make sure I was in Dunkin' Donuts by 7,
Right.
picking up our coffees, and I would hit the books with her every Friday. And she changed my life. Okay. And when I became an enrolled agent,
What's her name?
Catherine.
Shout out to
Catherine King.
We all need that person,
God.
right? Yeah, absolutely.
She used to call me and my husband. Those are my tax nephews. I remember to the point that now like we have our families blended. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And to me, she was such again another mom in the industry where she really was like, these are my boys. And she's always told me, she goes, you have it. And she's always been very hard on me. She was like, study this, learn this. When you're public speaking, you have to be the smartest person in the room, or you have to show integrity. If you don't know the answer to something, just say, you know what, that's really good. I'll get back to you.
I like that.
You know what I mean? But don't mislead anyone, especially with the word. You know what I mean? Preachers say it all the time, right? We go to church and we listen to people preach. No different concept in public speaking. You always have to have this persona on. And yes, it's always fun to have bells and whistles, but people really come for the knowledge, right?
Yeah.
And to learn something, to get something out of somewhere. Right. So yes, thank you, Catherine, for showing me that, because it's something I use in life, not just in my business.
Okay.
But I became an enrolled agent, and
was the test hard?
It was extremely hard.
Okay.
Oh my God, I failed it so many times.
Oh, so it wasn't one shot.
No, it's a 3-part exam. Part 1 was on individual tax law, part 2 was on business tax law, and part 3 was code of conduct, ethics, circular 230, all that fun stuff. Okay. But it did change my business completely.
How so?
And because when people think of accountants, or think of, for example, like I have clients that are accountants, but my best friend's an accountant for Pepsi.
Okay.
But I do her taxes.
Okay. Well.
You know what I mean? Just because you're in the field of accounting and you have an accounting degree doesn't default to tax. That's just one strand of such a broad industry. Right. So when you think tax accountant, you're just thinking tax season, like what do we do all year? And that's why I wanted to change that for me. I wanted to be an full service in everything, and I wouldn't be able to help clients with audit if I wasn't an enrolled agent.
Right.
So I had a client a couple months ago come in, got a letter from the IRS. The husband and the wife are both self-employed. It was a simple mistake that was made by the accountant. It was something that's happened to me before.
It wasn't your client.
It wasn't my client. So I was hired for representation in the audit.
Right, all right. So yeah. Just break that down. You had you had a person that had another accountant.
Correct.
And that account could not represent them in this interaction with the IRS, which
right.
is the regulatory body for the tax industry.
Right.
Okay.
But also what you want to think about it, like in your field, right? If something goes wrong, a mistake, the client in any industry automatically is going to think you did it. It's your fault.
Of course.
Your mistake.
Yeah. I pay you for this. Why is this happening?
So of course, naturally, they go, let me go to someone else to see if they can help me fix it.
Okay.
I wouldn't be able to help them if I wasn't an enrolled agent, because I didn't prepare the initial return.
Right.
I can guide them, but I can't represent them.
Okay.
So, long story short, the IRS had made a determination they were owing about $27,000. And again, same story as before. English is their second language. So they're trying to understand this, and this family's not sleeping at night,
right?
Thinking that
there's big bills.
Yeah, they have 2 children. They're just doing. They're trying to live the American dream like we all are.
Yeah.
And once I was done with it, we owed the IRS $10.
Beautiful.
And that's why, and that was so rewarding.
Mm-hmm.
Like anytime I win an audit, and again, there's not that many wins.
Okay.
There's always losers. We always, at the end of the day, the law is the law. 1 + 1 is always going to equal 2.
Right.
But when we do have those wins, I celebrate them. They're successful. And the fact that this, they're like, whatever magic you did. And I'm like, it's not magic. It's just using the law to our advantage. Like I tell my clients all the time, there's a difference between tax avoidance and tax evasion. Tax evasion is illegal. You want to out of that. Tax avoidance is using the code and making sure that we're, taking advantage of what we are legally allowed to do.
Well, I say a lot of times I tell people, like when I first went to get a mortgage, I was denied, right? And that's kind of what spiraled me into the whole industry. It's just you got to know the rules. If you don't know the rules, you can't play. Like you can't win. You can play, but you're kind of playing blind. If you know the rules, you can edge out people. There's things that you can do to really put yourself in a position to win. So having a professional like you is absolutely somebody, especially for for our immigrants that come, even our Latinos that just don't speak English, right? There's that fear. They get that thing. It could be anything in English, right? You get a letter from the IRS and it says you owe $27,000. You're like, are they going to come shut me down? right? Like that becomes
going to jail.
Yeah, right. That becomes the whole thing. It changes the whole way you think.
Exactly.
Are they going to go after my bank accounts?
Correct.
Right. Are they going to do this? So yeah, that's a lot of questions. Are most of your clients like cash industry, or do you have a wide spectrum of clientele?
I serve all walks of life.
Okay.
I do. I have clients that, sometimes I'm in tears because, they're telling me their struggles,
Right.
or, I'm going to my wallet and I'm saying, here, take this. And just because I get it, you're in a shelter right now.
Wow.
You just got to get your taxes done because you're hoping that this little money is going to help.
And
then I have very affluent clients.
Right.
Clients that even inspire me. They're like, oh my God, I want to get there one day. I'm like, wow.
Absolutely. Well, you're looking at it the right way.
Because COVID taught me that a lot, was the fact that you could be making $200,000 one day and then the world shuts down and you're qualifying for the low income tax credits that the low income poverty level people are qualifying for. Your world just went upside down. It doesn't matter. Nobody cares how many master degrees you have or what title you used to. You are what you are about as how you wake up the next morning.
Correct. Yeah. I had a lot of high net worth clients during COVID that we had to pivot into asset based lending because their income wasn't there no more. Their business was shut. Like they're like, well, I don't have any income. Right. I'm like, all right, well, we'll figure this out. Let's do this. Let's do it. One of my biggest deals was during COVID where everybody was shut down. I was still moving. He had a lot of assets with no mortgages, and he had put his down payment on his dream house for like $10 million. Right. I was like, what? But I get the call, like, oh, we got to make it happen. I'm like, all right, and we got it done.
And then the worst part is when they walk in to my office then and say, well, I paid, here's all my closing costs. And I'm like, thank you. This is do nothing on the tax return until you decide to sell that property. So, a big part.
Well, let me ask a question. Yeah, I got some questions. So now, mortgage interest is deductible.
Of course.
Okay.
But remember that Tax Cuts and Jobs Act put a cap on that.
Okay.
So the loan cannot exceed $750,000. If it does, then we lose the interest on the excess.
Okay. So the max write-off will be $750 on
$750 of the loan amount.
Loan amount, correct.
So if and I purposely did that with my primary residence in 2022. I made sure that I only mortgaged $750 regardless of
full refund or full.
So that way, when my mortgage interest statement shows up, and I get to write off the
whole thing,
entire beautiful 6.8% that I'm sitting on.
Okay.
So. Yeah,
that's where we're at now, bro.
And I tell people all the time, you can look at what I have from the outside and say, oh my God, he got money. The house is X size. But it's like, either I write big checks to the IRS every year because my business is profitable, or I'll pay the bigger mortgage, but write off the interest, and at least I have something to show for it.
Yeah.
Sending a check to the IRS doesn't help me.
Right. Well,
but sending a check to the bank, to M&T Bank, and writing off the interest and getting to live in having my dream house,
quality of life.
Then I'm winning.
Well, that takes education too.
100%.
That's the
part. And a lot of the time, when I first opened my business, I opened my business in March. It'll be 15 years that I opened my doors.
Okay.
I wasn't a franchise. I was nobody. I never expected J Squared to grow the way it did.
Okay.
At the time, my husband was working in the city.
So he wasn't an accountant from the beginning.
No, he was a real estate paralegal in Westchester, and then he went to the city and he was practicing commercial litigation paralegal work with a really good friend of ours, Allison, who's now a really good friend of ours, but it was his boss at the time.
Right.
And he had his career, I had mine, and I hated my job at the time.
What job was that?
I was working as a Section 8 case manager.
Oh boy!
Yeah. I left. I spent 5 years in Medicaid. I left to that because I felt like I was just pushing paper in a cubicle.
Okay.
And I think about, well, what do I love about tax season? And what I love about tax is the fact that I get to help people and work with people. Right. So I'm like, all right, so I'll be interviewing participants of the program, and I'll be renewing, that's how I met Elvira.
Okay.
I was assigned to
one of our cases.
I was assigned to Levser Towers, which is the project based in Mount Vernon. She was a property manager.
Okay.
And again, how I've always been this person where it's like, when I left, I was like, I showed her an email. I was like, hey, and I because I went to my husband, I was like, well, my fiance at the time, and I was like, I have an idea. I just need you to hold us down.
Mm.
But I'm going to just do this full time. I'm going to do taxes full time. If it doesn't work out, I'll go get a job.
Okay.
But 15 years later, and I haven't looked back.
Was he supportive?
He was very supportive to the point that
That's great.
After he saw how much money we made in the first 2 years, he left his job.
Well, that's not really. So we got to dive into that a little bit because you can't. Most business in the beginning, you're not making anything.
Exactly.
Right. So
100%.
what would you attribute to your success in the beginning? Obviously, you have you have charisma. You speak well to people.
Yeah. No. Listen. When I opened J Squared, we were sitting down in a Starbucks in October. We had just signed the lease of the office space, and my fiance at the time were going over. Okay, we need to buy computers. We need to buy this,
Right.
and then he's getting a phone call from Boston, Massachusetts, and I'm like, did you interview for a job and didn't tell me? Are we moving? What are we doing?
Yeah.
And he's like, so he picks up the phone. And he's like, hello, and he's like, hi, this is Staples, and you have filled out our survey, and you won a sweepstakes of $5,000. And then so
Real story, Phil story.
This is a true story. He called his boss, his attorney, and was like, "They're not read the fine print. They're not going to make me the next Jared from Subway, right? Like, I don't want to be a poster boy."
Right.
And again, he was in the city. He had to get some copies made for work.
And fill that
And he actually gave them a bad review because he got upset at the copy center.
Okay.
And you know how it is. Even today with Google and Yelp, people run to leave a negative review.
Right.
You have to beg them to leave a positive review, right? So he was like, you know what, I'm fuck you, and you guys fucked up, and he filled it out, and they picked him, and he won, and they FedExed over 4 gift cards each with $1,250 in them. I remember when he hung up the phone, like he had like this stare in his face, and I'm like, what was that? What the hell was that?
Manifest destiny.
And he just said, if I ever doubted that there wasn't a God, I was just reassured. And I'm like, what are you talking about?
Right.
And he's like, we just won $5,000 in Staples money. And that year, again, my best friend, who's my sister and goddaughter to my daughter, godmother to my daughter, and currently is my office manager and human resource payroll person that does that. She runs my business for me, runs me. Mm-hmm. It was her and I and a friend of ours that she's, a stay-at-home mom. And I kind of was just like, come on, you have that talent to come work part-time and be our receptionist. I thought it was going to be just the 3 of us forever.
Right.
And we were going to just stay this little thing. What I say, again, we were able to buy, we said, okay, what can expire? Paper,
Right. All right.
toner, phones.
We don't need that.
We bought all the hard stuff with that $5, and he always says, he goes, my $5,000 investment in this is my stake in this company, right? But it really started off. Everything was with good intentions, and I feel like when you do something with good intentions and good heart, and don't get me wrong, I made a lot of mistakes along the way. I made a lot of enemies along the way. I left every single tax office that I ever worked for with a problem.
Okay.
And, the first one I couldn't avoid it. They were Jehovah's Witness, and they just didn't like the fact that I came out.
Okay.
The second one was a friend that I helped open her office, and I helped again, blood, sweat, and tears, and
sweat equity.
And then I wanted to get ahead, and we had a falling out, and that's how that relationship ended. So I was taught very young that if you're not working with me, that means you're automatically working against me. It wasn't until I met my tax mentor and I joined an association full of tax professionals that kind of like said, wait a minute, there's enough for both of us to eat here. We don't have
all of us.
We could be friends in the industry.
Yeah.
Just because we do the same thing doesn't mean that we're competition.
Mm-hmm.
So everything that I did was with very good intention. Again, very little money. Mm-hmm. I borrowed money from a loan shark. I had horrible credit. Mm-hmm. Everything was just like, all I can do is take my clients. And people will follow you because they will never remember what you gave them. They will always remember how you made them feel.
Absolutely. I was going to say that, yes.
So, and that's something I can't teach.
Mm-hmm.
I've mentored now.
That's what makes you you.
I've mentored people in the industry, and I, sometimes things happen, breaks my heart. Employees steal from me. Employees that I looked at them as family. It hurts. It hurts, yeah. And it hurts, right? But I never stop. I could be at a bar having a cocktail and I just strike a conversation with someone. That's just who I am.
Okay.
And you know, I love sharing what I know. I love sharing my experiences. I like when people learn from what I've been through, my good and my bad, my ugly, all of it. So really, that is, word of mouth has been the way that I grew this company. You know, now we have 2 locations, one in Newburgh, one in Yonkers.
Oh, so you kept the one in Newburgh? Because I remember, I know you were moving.
Yeah. And part of my journey was that I was tired of being a landlord. I was being a tenant.
Yeah.
So my Yonkers office, we moved it into this professional condo. We purchased it, and now I can say that I'm landlord free.
I help with that.
I am. Yes, you did. I thought it wasn't going to happen.
No,
and I can now say I'm landlord free.
Yeah.
You know, our entities own the building that we operate our Newburgh office in. Same now with Yonkers. My home, my investment rental property. Again, my husband knows a lot about real estate. He's a realtor. Works with Daryl, at Four Seasons.
Shout out to Daryl Celsi.
Yes, thank you, Daryl, for everything. But again, it's one of those things that we've always built things to make them last because we always wanted to show that we can do it.
Okay. Let me ask you a couple questions.
Sure.
Before you guys bought your primary residence, were they homeowners? Was your mother a homeowner?
No.
Well, I want to showcase that. This is actually a leading question. What do you think?
I want to say my uncle bought his first. I've probably had two uncles that purchased property.
Okay, in New York.
In New York.
Okay,
and
so what gave? Well, the question is this. The question is, what was where was the part in your life where you said, "Yo, I see the game for what I use that term all the time. The game. I see this game for what it is, and I have to own to build on a larger level." Was there anything in particular? Did you meet anybody? For me, I'll give you my example. My example was my wife got pregnant. I was living with my mom, and I was like, "Mom, I gotta buy something. I love living with you, great, but three is me, my wife, her son. She's pregnant now. You, my sister, in a 3-bedroom." I was like, "This ain't it for me." And my mom was like, "Oh, well, what am I gonna do?" So she had just gotten divorced. I said, "So we're gonna buy a 2-family." Again, I didn't know anything about this stuff. She was like, "Yeah." And I went, me tiré. We bought a family right around the block, and that was the beginning. Then we bought that, then we bought another one, then I bought a building in Massachusetts. So I kept building because I started understanding.
Right.
But the thing was, I was fearless. I was like, "Yo, this just ain't it. I don't know what over there is going to be like, but this is not it for me." Like to live like with a landlord, and so that landlord in particular, he was running. It was a 3-bedroom. It was a 3-family house. He was running the washer and dryer electricity off our unit. I put that together when they were tripping the breakers. So I'm like, "Ma," because she didn't know. Yeah, I was like, "Ma, that's not legal." She's like, "No, but don't say anything." I was like, "What? Are you bugging?" I was like, so I went to like, "Bro, like you got to change the. Oh, I'll give you a credit," and it was cool. We worked it out. But I was like, "No, I don't want to live like because had I never figured it out, he would have just juiced us for the rest of my life, right? If we would have stood there. So it just became an ability to see. Like, he's not, and this is not an offense to him, but he's not smarter than me. He's an Italian guy. I was like, we could do this. I went to school.
And there was different times back then.
Yeah,
absolutely. Different times back then, and real estate was very different back then.
Yes.
And again, I saw that during COVID because I had clients that once upon a time had bought a 6-family home in Yonkers for $80,000.
That's crazy.
And now they're selling it for 1.2, 1.3 during COVID.
Right.
And making like a bandit, but getting murdered in the capital gain tax.
Yeah.
But for us, my husband and I, when we met very young, 18 and 19, got married at 22 and 23.
That's young.
And opened our business that same year, the year prior that we got married.
Okay.
So, when you meet a person where you're like, okay, we want the same things. We want growth, right? We like nice things. We used to go to the mall and he would refuse to walk into a Louis Vuitton store because I'm like, why not? Let's just go window shopping. He's like, I'm not going to go somewhere that I know that I can afford. I'll walk into Coach because I know I can afford that. I'm not going to, so it's like, very young, we had that desire, right? We both came from nothing. His parents weren't homeowners. I was a product of a single mom. And for me, my household was me, my mother, my grandmother. My grandmother was mom and mom was dad.
Right.
And my mom had those dreams of saying, okay, the restaurant is gonna do well, and then
I'll be able to do
and then
stuff.
from there I'll
Right.
be able to, because again, when people are hustling, but you are broke on paper, you can't buy anything.
Right. Right.
You know, so I learned a lot of that through my clients and through my relationships with the realtors and mortgage brokers, because, you know, you come in and do your taxes with me back in the time when we used to itemize, and then you want to write off everything.
Right.
And then your mortgage broker
You want
says,
$20,000 check.
and your mortgage broker says, okay, well, once I add this in,
Right.
factor your write-offs,
You
you
made
don't
nothing.
qualify.
Yeah, you made nothing.
You're
Yeah.
poor on paper.
Yeah.
Right? So one of the things I used to do with my clients, I used to always ask them before I got started, I always said, do you want, are you in the process of buying a home?
That's smart. Yeah.
You know, and then my clients complain about my worksheets and my checklists and my questions, and they always tell my staff, it's the same as last year. I'm like, no, it's not.
Right.
It's not. It's never going to be the same.
That's true.
There's always going to be change.
You might be wanting to play, right? You might be
So
do something.
you want me, because I don't want in July to get an email from your mortgage broker, and then your mortgage broker is now talking bad about me. Oh yeah, your accountant did your taxes wrong. That's why you can't get a mortgage.
Do they say that?
Oh, oh my God.
Okay.
Oh yeah. Oh,
I know. Listen, I know the gap. Like, all right,
Listen,
I get you don't want to pay anything.
I met the person who put us together.
Okay. Who shall remain nameless?
No, we can name him. Why not? I met Tim because he was working with a client, but he saw the patterns. So, and again, that's the difference between, one mortgage broker and the other. The same, he was committed. He was like, all right, he went with him to the tax appointment, sat with the accountant and made sure that he wasn't doing anything out of the ordinary or crazy.
Right.
And that's how that conversation started. I was like, hey, Tim. So I was like, okay, I have my business. We want to buy a home. What do you suggest I do? What, and we always wanted more.
Mm-hmm.
We wanted children. We wanted properties. We wanted to be landlords. And it's because at a young age, again, I'm working at Section 8. Then I started consulting with Elvira. So I'm working in property management. My husband's was doing real estate closings. So we were around that.
Yeah,
world.
you're becoming aware, right? You're becoming aware.
You know what I mean? And again, Mom always told me my only responsibility was to go to school and get good grades.
Right.
And I was raised a good Catholic son, and I can die happy knowing that I gave her everything that I could.
Right.
She's now retired. She has no debt. She lives in a beautiful home. She gets to raise her granddaughter, regardless of what you guys think. Yes, she's biologically mine, because, you see this blonde white girl, you're thinking, how is this Spanish boy?
It's another podcast.
Exactly. Yeah, we don't have enough time for that. But I know that was also a thing for her. I know that it broke her heart when I came out, because she's thinking, that's it. I only have you, and that's it. My bloodline is going to die with you. And the fact that I was able to afford to do that,
right,
a lot of it obviously was through home ownership.
Mm-hmm.
You know what I mean? People aren't aware of of an asset,
mm-hmm,
and what that word means,
right, and how to use it,
Correct.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So those tools are out there. They exist. And yes, going back to what you mentioned about your previous landlord, but it was never in my heart. It was never, why him and not me? Mm-hmm. Because I feel like when you think like that, you're not going to have any miracles coming your way.
Okay.
For me, it was always like, okay, if he was able to do it, I can definitely do it. Mm-hmm. The mentality changed,
right,
for me. And again, we made mistakes along the way. Our first home was a cookie cutter single family, and I always kicked myself in the butt saying, we really should have bought a two-family, a multifamily. We should have always, but again, we did. We ended up buying a multifamily as well.
Okay.
So we're landlords, and be able to say we have, 2 residential properties, 2 commercial properties now. So all those things came with experiences, and I learned a lot through my clients. Just as much as I share that knowledge that I have, I've learned things through them, and I'm like, I can do that? Yeah. I'm like, how did you do that?
Right.
And you know what I mean? Like, when I start talking about somebody and I'm like, wait, what's your interest rate again? And then like, how did you manage this? And he's like, listen, I thought it was, I got something in the mail one day and I thought it was, but I gave it a shot and this is what ended up happening. Now, of course, there is a lot of, fine print that people don't know and don't read, and we're all guilty of that. Mm-hmm. And that's how mistakes happen. But it's definitely attainable.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? And anything you want, I know this is going to sound like it belongs, in a poster or, in a hallway of a high school.
Yeah.
But, if you're complacent and you're happy and you're happy with just the bare minimum, that's what you're going to get. I'm a very big believer in manifestation. I'm a very big spiritualist. Again, I was raised Catholic. I pray every day. And one of the things that I believe in, and it's up for argument whenever we talk about the Bible,
Let's hear it.
is that God helps those who helps themselves.
Mhm.
And I know that's more Old Testament than New Testament, but it's how I live my life. It's like I can pray and manifest it, but again, if I don't get up in the morning and go and work hard and
Make it happen.
go chase it, it's not going to come to me.
Absolutely.
You know what I mean? All I can ask for is the blessings.
Mhm.
You know what I mean? Like have my path cleared. Don't throw a deer in there and ruin my
whole day.
my mojo, which has happened to me.
Really?
Oh yeah, during tax season. When I first moved when I went from Orange County to Dutchess County, I'm on the phone and I just see this deer come out of nowhere, and I just
And they're huge.
Somebody once told me when I was like 17, they were like, there's someone my age, someone in my family. And she was like, oh, I just drove around so-and-so's car. I just drove a car that you're never going to drive. And I'm like, what are you talking about? And she was like, yeah, so-and-so, he has a Mercedes-Benz, and I just drove, he let me, drive it from here to here. But I got so offended. And I'm like, it was in my mom's restaurant. And I remember saying, yes, I will drive that car one day. And since 2012, that's all I've driven is Mercedes-Benz.
Oh, okay.
It's literally like,
I love it.
So, when my daughter was born, I had to trade in my
And get a truck
coupe and get the mom car so the stroller can fit.
Yeah.
But and that was the car I ended up hitting the deer with.
Okay. Well,
And I
better
remember,
than the coupe.
and I remember getting home and just breaking down crying because I was exhausted. It was March. It was tax season, and it was just like literally. And I had to drive a freaking
Not
Enterprise.
450.
Enterprise didn't have anything. Of course not. A Toyota pickup truck, a white Toyota pickup truck. I look like the only country bumpkin
boy.
popping out with this on, and my designer bags, my designer shades, and I'm in a truck that looks like I'm about to go, fix your plumbing. But I've learned that my drive is really, really, like, I think back of days like that when people told me I couldn't.
Yeah.
Or I always tell people I have to work twice as hard because I'm Latin. I have to work twice as hard because I'm gay. I have to prove myself that I can do anything a straight white man can do.
Right.
You
have a lot of unconscious bias against you. Right?
And to a certain extent, we all do.
Absolutely.
Which is why I live my life very unapologetic. You know what I mean? I'm not going to tone it down. And again,
no, you gotta be you.
And I face discrimination everywhere.
I'm sure.
I was in North Carolina one time and I got kicked out of the airport. Because I got into 2 arguments. One was with a white man.
Okay.
Who didn't like how flamboyant I was, and I was on the phone with my best friend, and she's here.
You're on a phone call?
I'm on a phone call.
Okay.
And then I'm talking to her in Spanish. And then a black woman turned around and said, well, why don't you say it in English?
Oh, my God.
And I got escorted out. I was told that I was irate and they weren't going to let me fly.
Really? Wow.
And I remember that week when I got home, I didn't leave my house for a week. I didn't want to go to the gym. I didn't want to be around people because I was scared. Those experiences, and it happened very recently. I want to say 2 years ago.
Wow.
So those experiences. So no matter how bad I think I am, the world is out there. If you believe in the good, you got to believe in the bad, and vice versa. And there's still times that I feel like this big, but I can't let that stop me because now those are 2 more people that I have to prove myself to.
Yeah.
And I have to keep fighting the good fight. You know what I mean? I have my daughter, anyone that knows me personally knows that I'm a huge feminist. Like I believe, again, I'm raised by a single, I believe that we can have a woman president. I believe that women can be leaders and bosses and all that stuff. So I need to empower that little girl to think that she can be whatever she wants to be. And a lot of the time in business, people don't see that or value that. They only see what they can see from the outside. It's the inside that's hard. It's the daily struggles of owning and running, doing this, like doing this right now. You and I could be doing 100 other things.
Right. Well, to clarify that, we're working on the business now just to give some color, to use that word, to who we are. Because the people that need us, they know who we are. When we're in the business, like, not to go off on a tangent, but I remember maybe 15 years ago, before social media, everybody knew my email. Nobody could tell you what I look like. They were like, "Oh, Omar's on the deal. It's cool." I didn't go to closings. I was just, because you busy working, right? You busy working, and now I would show up places and they'd be like, "Who are you?" I'd be like, "Oh, I'm Omar." And they're like, "Oh shit!" Like, you've been doing business for 5 years. I've never met you. Da, da, da.
Same.
And then one of the things that helped me change, or one of the things I noticed that helped change that, I went to my brother-in-law wanted to buy a house in Orange County. And he's very particular. He was like, "I want you to represent me. I want you." So I was like, let's go. So we went to see the house, and I walk in the house, and it's a big house, like 6,000 square feet, huge. And the agent, un Latino, he's like, I forgot his name. I can't think of it right now. I did his loan. I've done. So he goes, so we look at the house. I say, he likes the house. We're going to make a full ask offer. He goes, I give him my card. He goes, "Oh, my Figueroa." He goes, "You did this deal for me." Because, you can't remember.
Right.
For my client in Yonkers, that was crazy. Da, da, da. Yeah. All right, I remember you. We didn't think that deal was going to close. So if you're going to make an offer, but that goes to show, it's like, yo, man, like, your work. When you walk into a room and people have seen your work, they're like,
your name.
Yeah, it precedes you. But with social media now, we're able to give the face to it. Right? So when people see you on the street, like, "Hey, Omar, I know you." Or I walked into BJ's, they're like, "Oh, you did loans, right? I seen your stuff. I like it." I'm like, and it's cool. It's cool.
Oh, it's so cool.
But people that look like us are not out there like that. No. They're not known like, and that to me the reason for the podcast was simply to have Latinos speaking intelligently, because I would see too much stupidity. Like, they were like drink champs and all. No offense to them, they have a place, but that's not me.
I threw a holiday party recently, and one of my really good friends, also a realtor, we went to college together. We had a conversation about our circles, and she was like, "Thank you for inviting me, like, to your home, and your home is gorgeous," and all this stuff. And we're talking about, and she's like, "You know what? She wanting to elevate, and she raised in Washington Heights. We went to we were in the Bronx together,
right.
So she's like, I don't want to be in the table where people are saying, "Oh, what's Cardi B doing?" No, I want to know what you're doing. What are you doing? What's next? If you're here, where are you going next? And there's not enough people that are getting on camera and talking about this. Yes. Don't get me wrong. I get freaked out sometimes when I hear that my name comes up in rooms that I'm not in, and,
really?
and I'm being told, "Oh my God, yeah, oh, that's your boss. Oh, I love that guy. I love his videos. I love his content." And I'm like, because sometimes I feel like no one's watching. And I'm not doing it for the views or the likes. I'm doing it because I'm doing it for the love of the game.
Okay.
Now, definitely number one. Number two, I'm also doing it to show that it can be done.
How long have you been doing it?
I started.
And are you doing it seriously now?
So yes, I am.
Okay.
So I started my podcast and taxes. And the point of and taxes was for me to be able to do this, talk about not just taxes.
Right.
So
it's what you do, it's not who you are.
And I think it's also very knowledgeable. So I've shot some great content that's coming up in 2026, which I cannot wait for everybody to see. With a lot of professionals that I respect. So I did one called Death and Taxes, and it was me and an estate's attorney. Okay. And we talk about wills, and we talk about trusts, and we talk about all that stuff, and control from the grave, which is awesome.
Right.
But we also talk about each other.
Okay.
I did one that's called Divorce and Taxes.
Okay.
And we talk about child support, and we talk about, what's what in that. And I respect this attorney so much. She's a phenomenal. She's her saying.
Name drop it.
Juliana Lobiondo, of course.
Juliana, I don't know you. But
yeah, I mean, you'll.
If I ever need to get divorced, which hopefully I never will.
And
I guess
you know what? And you know what? And they talk about this in the episode. I met her at the gym.
Okay.
And there was a time in my marriage that I thought that I had to do an adult thing and hire a divorce attorney. And I hired her. I paid the consultation fee. I sat down for the consult. And when you are vulnerable, anyone can take advantage of you.
Absolutely.
And if she was looking for the money, she could have ran with it. And I would have gladly paid her billable hours and then turned around 6 months later and says, you know what? I worked it out. I'm not getting divorced anymore. But I already ran my tab.
Right.
She told me, she goes, you're not ready to get divorced. She was able to see me for who I am and be ethical.
So you're just having a moment.
And I was just having a moment. And it happens to the best of us.
It's all about it because everybody has moments. Yeah.
Listen, marriage is hard. Divorce is hard. You pick your hard.
Right.
That's just how it is. You pick your hard. Choosing to stay is hard and choosing to leave is very hard. So again, and that's when she did that, I was like, oh my God. That's the type of professional I want to be.
Right.
I don't want to just sit and give you advice and just do something for you and look at you with dollar signs. I want to build that trust. I want that longevity. You know what I mean? If I'm making only $300 every year off of you, I'd rather that knowing that you know that I have your back and you're going to say, you know what? I want every time, because the moment you need to pay me for either advice or to do a job for you that is going to increase my billing rate, I know you're going to think of me. I know you know what I mean? Because again, people remember how you made them feel, not what you give them. Yeah. So the point of the podcast was always to have the content, because again, we also have to stay relevant.
Yes.
I grew with my clients.
Yes.
I wasn't an enrolled agent in the beginning of my career or my business. That's a choice I made deep in. Why? Because I didn't want to say, yeah, I don't know how to do a trust.
Well, you don't have to refer somebody.
Right. I gotta give, and now you're gonna, like we had this conversation earlier. Now you're gonna go to this CPA who knows how to do this, and I get mad at I used to have an employee that would always say, well, I don't do business stuff. I don't do business returns. And I'm like, you can't think that way. You have to grow with your audience. You have to grow with your clients. Mm-hmm. You have to be prepared that people die. And you have to know how to do an estate return or how to do a trust return. It's part of taxation. People open businesses. You have to know. People want to buy more houses. You need to be well versed. People want to do like-kind exchanges, and you have to be able to explain that.
But I think that comes with, you got to want to be able to grow, right? You have to want to elevate, and that becomes like, even me when I've had people join my team and stuff like that. Like, they always say they want to, and I'm like, well, this is what it takes. They're like, well, that's a lot of work. I'm like, well, if you want to get to the top of the mountain, you got to climb, right? I don't know. And they say they always want to, but they kind of never get to.
Exactly.
Right? And it's okay.
And that's the annoying part, because it goes back to people looking at what you have.
Yes. They look at the results of what you did.
Because they only want to, enjoy the fruits of your labor. Mm-hmm. They don't want to be part of the hard work or the process of getting there, or working side by side to you, so how they can get there. But they're like, no, just invite me to the table.
Finding their way, right? Because everybody has their own distinct way. We're all individual. We all have like our quirks, right?
Right.
So some things I might do might resonate really well with a certain demographic. Some things they might do might really resonate really well. But you got to find that, and you have to then put it out there so people can find you.
Yeah.
But the part becomes, going back to, everybody likes the shiny stuff, right? Oh, I want to drive a car like that. Oh, I want to live like that. Well, bro, for 20 years, I did this. Right. And then
it wasn't always
right. And then I had this magic, going back to growing with your clients. I had a client that had to do a $10 million transaction. That changed my life because I'm like, oh, I'm doing it. And then now I'm able to look at bigger things, right? Because I did it. Now it's not, oh, I think I can do it. No, I did it. So now it changed my belief.
Right.
So now I'm out there selling, yo, I could do this. This is done. I have the track record.
And people are also scared of the sacrifices. I don't
know if they're scared or just don't want to do it.
When we decided, when my husband and I decided we were going to buy our first home, we were renting a house in a nice area in Yonkers, right around, by the Cross County Mall, off of Kimball Avenue. We loved that house. We were renting it, but I was paying like $3,000 in rent.
Which could have been a mortgage, right?
Which could have been a mortgage. Right. So we sacrificed. We didn't go on vacation for 2 years. We moved out of that pretty house and we moved into an apartment.
To save,
and the savings were about $1,200 a month. Mm-hmm. For 2 years, that's all we did. Mm-hmm. The most fun thing we probably did was go to Don Coqui in Rochelle when it was there at the time.
Right.
And treat us to a dinner and drinks with our friends from time to time.
Right.
We went nowhere.
Right.
We did nothing. All we did was save. My first loan wasn't an FHA. It was a conventional. Mm-hmm. But I remember the pain I was like, oh my God,
The pain.
the pain of putting down. But then when I sold that house to buy my forever home, we like to call it, I was able to do that because of the equity it had.
Right.
But none of that would have been possible if it wasn't for the sacrifice
in the beginning. Right.
And we sacrificed.
Mm-hmm.
And going back to the podcast and why even doing that is because you have to stay relevant.
Yeah.
You can't say, nobody watches commercials anymore.
Mm-hmm.
Nobody does.
I only watch Super Bowl.
I the Super Bowl.
Yeah.
And the Super Bowl, which is the only reason why you invite me to a Super Bowl party and I leave after the halftime show. I don't care if the Angry Birds or the Captain Americas are playing or whatever they're called. But I'm going to just eat the food, watch the commercials, and then watch the halftime show, and then I'm leaving. Okay? That's what I'm doing.
So if anybody wants to invite you.
Yeah, I'm a great bartender. Okay, that was my job at the restaurant. I was the bartender. I'm a great bartender, and I'm a blast to have around. So yeah, and I'll ask a question. I'm the party Joe. Exactly.
Party Joe. I'm sorry.
Party Joe, fun Joe. My husband's serious Joe. Very yin and yang. Like he'll have to. He explains the game to me sometimes, and you're like, okay,
you're like whatever.
Yeah, sure. But definitely the content that we put out now, I wanted to have something. The main reason why I started it was because I saw so much wrong advice on TikTok, on Reels.
Mm-hmm. And nobody knows the difference.
And I've had clients that will whip up their phone and someone tells a video about an LLC. I had a guy one time come in and shows me this Reel or this TikTok. And I'm like, okay, so what's your business? And he's like, oh, I don't know. My house.
Yeah.
We're going to put my house in the LLC. And I'm like,
why?
Like, what? I'm like, but you're renting it? And he's like, no, I live
there. Yeah, no primary.
And I'm like,
FHA mortgage.
But I want to write off my car, and I could write off my car, and then I could
£6,000.
Exactly. I could buy, and
I can sell puppies.
And again, and again, I always tell my clients and that's why I started the content.
And having this conversation,
I wanted real advice.
Very good for me.
I wanted real advice to be put out there. Yeah. And the thing is that I can't be a professional and be mad about what my clients are telling me or the advice they're following because they got it off of TikTok. I can't be mad if I'm not putting it out.
Absolutely.
Because then I'm just here talking shit, being upset that other people are putting stuff out. There's a lot of content creators that are enrolled agents, that are CPAs, and some of their shit is on point and it's legit. Mm-hmm. But some of them it's wrong. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? And I can't, like Section 179 is the biggest thing. Everybody wants to write off a G-Wagon. Yeah. And again, don't get me wrong. One of my clients, a dentist, I said, okay, your tax bill is going to be $125,000 this year because the practice did so well.
He's on buying a G-Wagon.
He goes, or you buy a G-Wagon and then the bill just dropped to only $25,000. Right. That's called tax planning. Right. That's called strategy. Mm-hmm. That I'm more than your average person. Advice. Exactly. Okay. That's so. But it pertained to him
specifically because there was
because of his situation and his business and all that stuff. If you're a school teacher and you open an LLC because you want write-offs, well, you have to have a legitimate business. Your business has to actually be in the business of making money.
Yeah. Yeah.
And, again, I can't complain about the content that's out there if I'm not putting content myself.
Absolutely.
So that's why I did it.
And a big thing also is social media is basically, it's referral business at scale. I don't know how many clients you have, and I don't want you to guess. I can't even guess because I've been doing this 20 years too, right?
5,500 nationwide.
Okay, I don't know. Too many. So I've been doing this about 6 years, heavy. And in the beginning, going back to what you said, I was like, is this a vanity project? You in the beginning, you're like, but then you start getting the calls. You get the calls from your boy who lives in Ohio, and he'll be like, I saw you on Facebook. I forgot you do loans. I want to do my loan in the Bronx. I was going to do it quickly, but fuck them. Or a client you closed 10 years ago, and they hit you, and they want to sell a property in Brooklyn for like a couple $1 million, and you haven't spoken to them in 10 years, and you're like, I had this conversation. I was like, how do you remember me? Like, she goes, you told me to follow you on LinkedIn 10 years ago. I've been following you. And every time you talk about stuff, I got to call Omar. And that's how it happened. I'm giving you a couple of mine because that's going to happen.
No, and well, it's been happening.
It's happening already. Okay.
It's been happening.
Good.
Oh, yeah, 100%. So when I opened J Squared, one of the things I did, and I don't stop doing, is that I, for 15 years now, my clients get a Christmas card.
Okay.
I've always done a photo shoot with my staff. And don't get me wrong, like, again, one recently quit and he's in the Christmas card, so obviously he signed the model release. Too bad, you know. I want to just put a big X on his face, but
a big smile, a yellow smiley face,
you know. But I've been doing it, and my staff will complain. My girls get upset because I'm putting them in dresses.
You dress them up, glam up.
I have my Vogue's, you know, photographer come in.
Right.
You know, shout out to Matt Rodriguez. He's the best in the game. And
so it's the production. It's not just a regular, right? It's not a regular. Just come.
It's a production. My videographer does behind the scenes, and you know, we shoot in different places all the time, every year. There's Untermeyer Gardens, or this year's it was in White Plains, in one of those office buildings. And again, I put the boys in tux, I put the girls in glam and dresses, and of course, you know, like every good business owner does, I pay my daughter to show up for the photo shoot, and now she gets to get a W-2, and
you get a write-off.
I write her off. She gets to contribute to a Roth IRA, and then the rest of the paycheck goes into her 529 college savings plan. She's still my dependent.
Boom.
All the things that I tell my clients to do, I follow my own advice, right? And people complain about it, and my husband complains about it, and sometimes it is exhausting, and it obviously costs money. Yes, it's a write-off, but it's exhausting, you know, makeup, glam, changing outfits.
Well, let's put it this way. You have to make money to write it off, guys. Just FYI. I just want to say that, right? If you're not making money, then don't think about the write-off yet.
Exactly.
Right, okay.
And it'll be February, and somebody will say, oh my God, I got your Christmas card. Oh my God, your Christmas card is what I look forward to every year. Oh my God, it's better than last year's. And then I tell my staff, I was like, do you see why we do it? Do you see why? There's a method to my madness.
Right.
Is that little gesture?
You create a relationship.
It creates a relationship. You know, and putting content out there, you're inviting them into your life. And that could be, it's been exhausting for me. I'll be very honest with you.
Right.
It's been exhausting. Doing this is not easy. You know, today energy. Today is amazing.
Yeah, because you're chilling.
And you saw I wrote to you, and I'm like, do it, because normally I'm the one that has to prepare the content.
Yes.
The material.
Yes.
Location.
Right.
You know, shooting. You know, and then and I refuse to not put myself in glam. So again, I wake up morning, I gotta
get your outfit
beat my face, and again. We call it Ryan Seacrest makeup, where it's just a very, very light touching up. And I taught myself. I had a girlfriend teach me once, and then after that, I ran with it.
Okay.
Skincare routine. And
so you have makeup on?
I have makeup right now. Okay. I'm in full beat right now.
Okay.
Oh yeah.
Good to know. I'm learning.
Listen. Here's another thing that it's a very unpopular opinion that people might think, but people only want to do business with people that are good looking. I'm sorry, but it's true.
Okay.
I used to weigh 335 pounds.
Did you?
I went through weight loss surgery in 2016, a tummy tuck and lipo in 2021. I again, when I tell you I'm an open book, I tell people all of my experiences.
Wow.
And I can tell you that people treated me differently.
Okay.
From when I was heavier.
And you this is first-hand experience.
Oh yeah.
Right? It's real.
Yeah.
It's real.
This is real.
Okay.
So people, so that, you know, and RuPaul said it once on his master class, you want to make money, put on a suit.
Mm-hmm.
People take you seriously when you dress a certain way.
Absolutely.
When you care about what you put on your back, people will treat you with respect. People will treat you differently. If I was to walk in and you know, some of the people that I respect in the industry don't look like me.
Okay.
But yet I will be a more popular choice for someone who's not educated in the industry.
Okay.
Like if I had to pick who I would go for tax advice, it wouldn't be someone that looked like me. It would be someone that I know they're knowledgeable. I know that their brain is like an encyclopedia. It's amazing.
Right.
But people treat you differently the way how you present yourself.
Absolutely.
And that's why it's exhausting, because I'm not going to put on content if I have a big giant pimple here, if I didn't put on my contacts, because I hate wearing contacts.
You wear glasses?
I wear glasses every day, and I can't look at a computer screen with contacts on, but today I have to make the exception.
Right.
Because again, I had to present myself in a certain way if I want people to take me serious.
Okay.
And that's just the truth.
Yeah.
And you know, I started public speaking 5 years ago, and I was terrified. My first, in the beginning, people would always just tell me how good I looked.
Okay.
And then 5 years later, people are telling me like, wow, I learned something
behind it. Yeah.
Oh my God, I loved your experience story you shared about this situation with that audit or this person. You know, you really explained it. So I took a year off public speaking. My daughter started kindergarten. So,
Yeah,
a lot of changes, 2025 was not an easy year for me, as you can see.
Okay.
I moved the office
Yeah.
and I also lost relationships. A lot of people
'Cause moving?
that, no, just people that I worked with and did business with, even friends, to be honest with you. I have a new game. I call it Block Goose.
Block Goose.
Yes. Because Joey's always been, again, the person that is so overly friendly and wants to always have a good time. And sometimes I made friends with people that I thought were my friends, but they weren't my friends. They were just there for what I gave them and not how I made them feel.
Okay.
The opposite of what I preach.
Okay.
And at the end of the day, in business, it breaks my heart, and I get really sad inside when those relationships end like that.
Yeah.
But I am very a believer of that I have to start standing up for myself, and I am not good at doing that.
Okay.
That's why I have the other Joe. You know what I mean?
Okay.
We
He runs that position.
He's my dragon. Okay, I have to say, I just say to Karis, and then the whole city's on fire.
Well, you have to understand this part, because I've struggled with that too, right? And there's two ideologies I subscribe to, right? Two ideologies that I live by, and one of them I tell my sons all the time, right? And I'll tell it to you. What you do for other people has nothing to do with them. It's who you are, right? And you have to understand, if it is not reciprocated, that's fine. You build a boundary, you keep going.
Correct.
I left you with more than I took, and that's great.
Right.
The second part becomes, it's tougher. You can be the friend, or if you're in a business relationship, you can be the CEO, right?
Right.
For me, I'm just using that for example.
No, exactly.
And sometimes I'm like, hey man, when I have to let people go, it's not easy for me. It was really hard for me. Usually I let people quit. I like that better.
Me too.
But lately I'm like, listen, man, these numbers don't make sense. And so I'll frame it separately. I'll be like, well, listen, maybe you become an outside person, and kind of giving them an option to see if they really want to,
right? Because
usually they don't want to, but they don't know how to do anything else.
And that's what I do.
Okay.
Well, that's what I used to do.
Okay.
But I really have entered into a space in my mind where I have to put me first.
Absolutely. Well, you can't help anybody else if you have nothing.
Exactly. I have to make sure my cup is full before I fill yours.
And then you have a daughter.
And there's so much more things. My marriage, I want to be, a good son, a good father, a good business owner. All those things
a lot of hats.
have to take priority.
Mm-hmm.
So recently, this year, I ended a lot of friendships, relationships with people, because having access to me is not a requirement. Having access to me is a privilege.
Yeah, and having access is a big deal.
And my mom is very overprotective, of course, over me, and she's always
your only son, right?
I'm her only son, and she always is. She's like, her intuition, right? She's like, I don't like that person. That person calls you her friend or your friend. They're not your friend. And I'm like, ay, ma, stop. Come on, relax. Right. No, of course she's my friend.
She has a radar up all day.
And then I read, she's very good at not telling me I told you so until she tells me I told you so.
Right.
And I started realizing that I have to stand up for myself. I can't just let other people fight my battles. I have to fight my own battles. And then when I block someone's phone number and completely remove them, I know you're going to see my videos. Like, I know that I'm going to live rent-free in your head,
right? But
you're not living rent-free in mine anymore. And it feels like a weight gets lifted.
Yeah.
The tears and the pain, and this is both very real in personal relationships and in business relationships. Mm-hmm. You know what I mean? I had someone.
They're both relationships.
I had two people do me the dirtiest this year.
Okay. In business or personal?
In business. Business. Both happened during a Mercury retrograde.
I don't know what that is.
So
that's a astrology thing?
That's astrology, yes. But, Mercury, the planet of communication and technology. So whenever your computer starts messing up,
it's Mercury.
You have to take a look and see if Mercury is retrograde or if it's direct.
Okay.
If it's retrograde, then and then I always say communication, because that's when, you send that email and the other party misunderstood how you wrote it.
Okay.
And that's why I don't like having text message fights, because it's no. This is something we have to have a face-to-face. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Anyway, But a really good thing that the Mercury retrograde does is that it shows you and it ends relationships with people that no longer serve you.
Okay. It exposes it.
And a lot of exposure happened for me this year.
Okay.
And moving forward,
Mhm.
that's how I'm going to operate.
Okay.
It's if you know what, if we worked well once upon a time and now we don't work well, then if I have to end that, that's okay.
Yeah, I mean, listen,
That's okay.
we're all
I have to start
always evolving.
It's okay.
Yeah, because you're not the same person you were last year or next year. Yeah.
Yeah, and I look around the room and there's every different people now around me, and I'm okay with that.
Okay.
I'm very fine with that.
So so when you say you've cut them out, do you make an announcement or you just stop deferring to them?
No, I play block goose.
So you just block them.
I block them in every platform and my phone number. They cannot call me. Okay. That's and you know what? The first time I did it, I cried a lot because it really hurt. It really
for the first person
hurt. For each time.
Each time. Okay.
It got easier as I went along the way.
So these people, I mean, again, you don't have to say their names, but so these people were really in your life then.
Yeah.
All right. So these are like tight relationships.
One person was my husband's executive assistant, and she ran our whole life and house. Like I'm talking.
Okay. So these are like day to days, right? Yeah, day to day.
This woman came on vacation with me. She would decorate my house for Christmas,
permanent fixtures in your life.
My daughter's birthdays. She was somebody in our life.
Right. Okay.
She managed our she worked in the office. She managed our rentals. She played landlord. Okay. She was the property manager for our your property. She just knew how to do things and get things done.
Right.
That ended.
Okay.
The other person was my number 2 in the office. Like I trusted him with my life.
Yeah, these are
I trusted him with my clients, which is more than my life.
Right.
And then finding out things after he left and the way he left, it was just like every day was like someone punching me in the gut. And betrayal in business is no different than betrayal in a personal relationship, because Absolutely. For me, I don't have a separation. That is a flaw of mine. Right. I don't separate the two. Right. I tell people all the time, J Squared is my baby. It's my first child. It's my first. Luna is my second child. But that's the reason why we eat. Mm-hmm. And when I go to bed at night, I don't go to bed thinking, the responsibility of my family. No, it's the responsibility of my family and my employees' families. Mm-hmm. Yeah. So many people depend on this company to turn the lights on every day.
The pressure
so that
is so real that people don't understand.
People don't understand that. And people don't understand that. Yeah. Especially in our field, because they look at you, they look at me, they say our job is easy. We just do on the computer all day.
Yeah. Everything's easy.
It's not like me. I'm a cop. I put my life on the line, or I'm doing physical manual labor every day. Yes, I understand that. I might not be working physically as hard as you are, but this can't be taught,
and that can be turned off.
Because I always tell people, studying for a test is basically just memorization. Because in the real world, if you need to look something up, you'll have resources to find the answers. Mm-hmm. I tell that to my clients and my employees all the time. I say, if you don't know the answer to something, it's okay to say I don't know.
Right. You can Google it.
Right.
ChatGPT, whatever.
Let's make sure that we back it up with integrity and fact check it.
Right.
But the fact that I have to always be on and never off.
That's the thing.
That's exhausting.
Yeah.
And again, it's not made for the week.
I have a cycle day. Like I was telling my wife, she understands. She started to understand because she's working with me now. Sundays I try to kind of keep it low. Like the phone's not really with me like that.
Yeah.
We're chilling, we're talking, we're here, we're playing with the dog, whatever. Like just low frequency, because most of the week I'm go, right? And being self-employed, there's no I'm out at 5. Mm-hmm. No. Like, I'm out when he's done.
I'm answering emails on the toilet. I'm answering emails when I'm Christmas shopping. I'm answering emails during dinner. Mm-hmm. And yes, it's unhealthy work habits. Mm-hmm. I'm not gonna. I do have to get better at that, because it does affect my family. Yeah, and I do have to put the phone down sometimes and pay attention to the memories I'm making with my daughter. I don't know how many more years I have with my mom, so I want to be present. Yeah, but I can't help it. Mm-hmm. It's who I am.
Recently I put do not disturb my phone when I go home.
Me too.
When I go home.
Me too.
So now
it starts at 8 p.m. now for me.
No, whenever I get home, it does that. Like it'll do it when you get to your house. It shuts it down. Then my wife is like, I've been calling. Like, oh my bad, hold on. But
the one time you're like, okay, I thought I was doing the right thing.
Yeah. When she's not in the house, I'm in the house. Then I make sure it's still on. But when she's in the house, then we're good. But yeah, it's a discipline. It's hard because in the beginning you're so busy trying to make a business, mm-hmm. right? And now you got You got a business kind of going. Now you got to kind of like, how do I do this sustainably? Because you can't run 100 miles an hour all day, every day.
In the beginning, there's nothing to lose.
Well, you don't have shit. You don't have shit. Yeah.
You have everything to lose.
Right.
And that
You want me
fear, that anxiety
right.
that I live with day to day is not easy.
It's not healthy. Yeah.
But again, my favorite question is, how do you do it? Or, why are you successful? And the only thing I can say, Omar, if I'm being really real, I am who I am because I am who I am. And there's no book for that. There's no training manual. They don't make them like me anymore. They don't make them like us anymore. This generation is not.
After 05, it was over.
I'm fearful for my retirement to see how the country's going to be ran by this generation, but it's not cockiness. Because I'm describing what I battle with. Anxiety, seasonal depression. Can't sleep. Can't think, can't eat, all those things are welted into the success of the company,
right?
And into my career, and
to who you are,
and to who I am,
and to who you are.
Everything that we've accomplished, every real estate transaction, every landing a big client, every legal battle, every lawsuit. Again, you're not doing it right if you're not getting sued.
Did you see my post about if you haven't got
I didn't. But
if you haven't got a cease and desist, you haven't got home.
Well, exactly. Oh my God. Yeah.
Yeah. Because I got one, I was like, what the fuck?
Yeah. I got my first cease and desist in 2009.
I applaud you. That means you're doing it right.
And back then, I felt like the world was ending.
Yeah, when I got that, I was like,
and now it's like, take a number.
Yeah.
I have 5 lawyers on retainer at all times.
Yeah.
And that's not a flex.
No.
Because I want my money back.
Yeah.
But I have them on retainer at all times.
Yeah.
My real estate lawyer, my tax attorney for compliance, my general counsel, my divorce attorney, but
the divorce attorney is not for you. It's just anybody needs
just
it.
in case. You never know. But it's just it is what it is, man.
Yeah.
I wouldn't trade it for the world. I cannot see myself. So, and I know I talk a lot of shit at home and in the office. Like I remember I got a job. I always get job offers when I'm public speaking.
Oh, nice.
And I was like, oh guys, guess what? Someone from New York State Department of Taxation and Finance wants to offer me associate director. I think I might take it just for the health insurance.
Yeah.
And I'm like, but that means I can't run J Squared no more. And and to me, it's like I think about those opportunities, and I say to myself, I would be unhappy, if I did not live in this chaos. I would be so miserable if I would have to go back and report to work.
Yeah, it's
hard.
It's hard. I was offered to buy my company at one point, and I threw a number out there, and they were like, "Oh, it's crazy." I was like, "It's not because I'm making it. So either I'm going to make it, or you come back in 2 years, it's going to be a bigger number." But the truth of the matter is, I try to go and I try to go work under somebody's office. It's cool, but it's just not mine. So no, I can't. I just can't do it. I can't. If I want to walk around my socks, I want to be able to walk. Like, you know what I'm saying? Like, I just
every time we have an issue with like an employee, the first thing that I get told by my HR and my husband is that this is your fault because you think that everybody's your friends, and I like to have a fun work environment.
Yeah,
you know what I mean. I don't want to be that type of boss that I'm micromanaging you. And I've learned that with certain relationships at work, when you're that way, and it's go time, your team will go for. Listen, there's many people on my payroll that I can wholeheartedly say with every betrayal I've had, I know I had so
somebody in your corner,
someone in my corner that will. On my way here, a client calls me and she's like, I have a complaint, and I'm like, oh God, what's the complaint? What happened now? Why didn't you give me Crystal sooner?
Oh, your assistant or something?
She's my accountant, and she's actually now a successful enrolled agent under my mentorship.
Congrats.
So I'm so ecstatic for her and for the firm, because this just means that we can just elevate our services in the sense that now we have 2 of us in the building.
Right.
So she took over this client of the employee who left, and she called me. She's like, don't fuck this up, Joe. because
Keep her around.
you got a good one. She's a good one.
You got a good egg.
Should have given her to me sooner.
That's great.
And you know, and I call her while I'm driving. I'm like, I'm on my way to film, and I had to tell you this because you get paid to do your job, but for you to make someone feel that way to the point that they had to go out of their way and call your boss to say, give her a raise, she deserves it. And it made me feel so good. It made me feel so complete.
Yeah.
It's like, oh my God, for every bad thing that's happened to me, something good. And a dear friend of mine, Irina, who co-owns Hebe Med Spa in Fishkill, she gave me some advice recently. And she goes, every time something bad happens to you, you need to change the way you look at it and just say, what a gift. Thank you, universe, for this gift.
Oh, look for the good in it. Yeah.
You know what I mean? And 2025, I definitely received the gift of sight, of being able to see things and being able to see things for the first time and for what they are. And yeah, what a gift! Because once you start thinking that way, the universe will take care of everything else for you. And I live on faith. I live on it.
I say faith over fear always.
I can't not believe that it's going to be okay.
Yeah.
That we're going to make it. Our numbers are going to go up. You know, we're going to continue going up. You know, we're not going to stop. And there's going to be a new project, and there's going to be a new. Again, I'm scared. Okay, it's literally been like not even 30 days since we moved into the new office.
Okay,
and I'm petrified.
Well, now you got to juggle two locations.
I'm like, well, we've always had two locations. We've always had the Newburgh office, and we've always had the Yonkers office.
Okay.
Yonkers office was just coming at a hefty price point of $7,000 a month in rent, and now you know what my mortgage is.
Yeah.
I am saving money, and it's mine.
Okay.
You know, I own it.
Yeah.
You know, I have a corner office I've always wanted, and it with a view
and good views.
And it's so. My thing is like, those little wins for me, it's what makes me want to just keep going even harder and keep working. And you know what? Every time I wanted to quit, like my passion project, little wins like this is like, okay, no, I can't. Because now I have a room that I can literally make a content creation room. Like I could literally have my studio there, so that way it's just one less thing I have to worry about.
But think about it this way also, marketing. Like, I don't know how far you go back, but I used to pay for the penny pincher. I used to pay for the phone book. I used to pay for Channel 12. Like,
I've tried so many things.
But you know, you pay for those things, but now you can actually organically make your own shit, push it out.
Yeah.
And here's a little tip, right? When I get something that performs well, I'll put ad spend behind it, and then I'll have a job form where they can come back to me if they want real estate or mortgage or whatever. Because I know people like it already. So now it's already proven. So now put a little money behind it and see what happens.
And it works. It does work. I've met some great business owners through the power of social media.
That's great.
You know, just because they like what I put out there. You know what I mean? And again, of course, I always get criticized, and or I get told, "You're a business owner, don't talk like that," or "You're a business owner, don't say that." Like, and then I'm like,
but I am who I am.
Being real.
I am who I am.
I am being real. And if you don't want to work with the real me, then I don't want you to work with me. Go find someone else.
You're basically vetting your clientele.
Yeah.
As well as them vetting you.
And I'm reassuring my clients that it exists.
Right. That they know who you are.
That this is who I am.
Because you're authentic.
I know I know what I know. And when you have something like a like kind of exchange come your way, you know that I'll gear you in the right path.
And you know,
I'm not going to sell you a dream or tell you I can't help you. And that's why I do it, to stay relevant. And it's not so much to become famous. It's not so much for clout. It's to stay relevant.
You're famous to 5 people at least your whole life. That's what they say. They say you're famous to your mom, you're famous to your daughter. Listen, people...
I mean, I don't understand why I don't have a reality TV show at this point. I really...
It might happen.
Following me.
It might happen.
Like, some of the shit that happens in my life. My husband and I used to always say, like, at the reunion episode, we would lose all our friends. By the time the first season's over, all the shit we talk, and I'm like, absolutely, absolutely. And he's like, maybe it's best that we don't have cameras following us around. But I joke about it, but it's just that, you know, it's not that I think that my life is more interesting than someone else. I just feel like there's so much, like we always have a say that nothing ever comes easy to the Joes.
Okay.
It doesn't.
Okay.
You know, I couldn't even have a baby easy. No, I had to have a baby in the middle of a pandemic.
It was private.
COVID was a blessing and a curse. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
And you know,
I agree.
You see other people have babies like that, no problem. No, I not only had to, you know, Joe and I had failed adoptions. We tried the adoption route. That didn't work. 5 years of a lot of money down the toilet.
Wow.
And when we decided to go surrogacy, It happened so fast. We met with the lawyers May of 2019, and Luna was born May 9th of 2020.
Wow.
And that's because, my job was easy.
Right.
Grab the cup, do my business, give the cup in, and I'm done. But he picked the embryo, the egg donor. So he took his time because he was very specific. He wanted he wanted an embryo with his similar qualities, background.
Okay.
So
you have to research.
It's a very interesting process and journey, and he looked into a lot. Luna's obsessed with animals. Her egg donor was going to school to become a marine biologist, living in Orlando, working as a character princess in Disney World.
Okay.
So I like to say that her mom is Cinderella. I tell that all the time.
Okay.
And so it's like little things like that, and it's like, oh my God, we were supposed to have this amazing baby shower. We were inviting politicians, clients,
during COVID,
and then the world comes to an end, and we get a call from the agency, and it says on April 5th, and it says you have to quarantine. Illinois will not let you be in the hospital because they know you're coming from a hotspot.
New York.
From New York,
okay,
and my surrogate was in Ottawa, Illinois.
Okay,
and we quarantined for 45 days before her birth.
45 days,
just her and I. My mother said goodbye to me, thinking she was never going to see me again. Him and I are the only ones in Walmart wearing gloves and masks. Everybody else is arguing because they're telling them to put on a mask because the whole town had like 5 cases.
Right.
So it still didn't hit them yet.
Right.
Meanwhile, in New York, we were podrido.
We were destroyed. Yeah.
And becoming parents was such a difficult task. So nothing's ever coming.
You had to earn it. You had to earn it.
Opening a business, buying a house. Well, our first closing, we didn't get the keys.
Why?
So if you remember our closing, how long it took for funds to arrive? Okay. So all that was fine, but when they do the criminal background thing to make sure you're not a terrorist or whatever the case may be, I have a problem.
Fact Act, guys.
I have a problem.
Operation for Assets Control.
Every time I fly into the United States,
bro, your name is Jose Rodriguez.
I cannot check in with the rest of my family because I get pulled over and I get asked where I live, where I work. So like when we check out, my husband's Joseph A. Rodriguez. So he goes with my daughter on one line. I go on another line because chances are they're going to pull us. So that happened at the first closing. So he comes back from the closing. He doesn't have keys. So he's like, nothing fucking comes easy to us. And we got called back once the clearance checked to then go pick up keys and finish the closing.
Oh, wow.
So I think it's like when we bought our 3-family house during COVID, it was on October 15th. My office was crazy. It was end of extensions.
Yeah.
And I remember telling Tim, I need to close by 10:15. I have to file my taxes. I cannot be late. I can lose my license.
Right.
So him and my lawyer were in my office trying to scan all the papers I signed for the purchase of the multifamily.
Okay.
When we bought the Newburgh property, it was sold as is, but the douchebag didn't deliver it clean and swept like contract says.
His dirty clothes everywhere?
And it was no, even worse. It was a contracting office, and he had files with employees' social security numbers on it. I'm like, I'm not buying this house and taking on this responsibility. You have to come pick up your shit.
Yeah.
And he's like, no, it's sold as is. It's sold as is. And my husband at the closing table goes, I don't have to buy this property. You have to sell it. That's the difference. Who let you into the property? He goes, you idiot. I'm the realtor on the deal. He's the purchaser. His lawyer picked them up, talked to him in the hallway, gave us the credit for taking care of all the furniture. He said, and he even left like a busted Porsche in the parking lot.
I had a deal like that where it was as is in Brooklyn. I don't know what they told these people, but they left their dirty laundry everywhere.
Oh my God.
So the buyer's like, yo, I was like, hold on. And the kid, he must have learned the term on TikTok. It's as is. I was like, yo, come outside. I was like, bro, as is means the boiler doesn't work.
Right.
As is does not mean you leave your dirty underwear on the floor.
Right.
Go clean it up, please. It was $1.8 million sale.
It was a huge complaint.
Oh yeah, that's different. Right.
Like I get it. We get it. We weren't expecting you to fix anything again. And again, as soon as we move in, right?
Yeah.
When we move in, mold.
Oh my God.
As is, right? Mold. So $100,000 in
mold remediation.
Exactly. The money that was going to go for the upgrades and the renovations went to the mold.
Make it livable. Yeah.
So that I can operate an office out of there.
Yeah. So that's where your office is.
That's where our Newburgh office is. Yeah. So my husband runs our Newburgh office.
Okay, and you'll be in White
And
Plains?
I'll be in the Yonkers office.
Right.
In the Yonkers office.
Okay.
Yeah.
Right.
And then what we do is that we do a tag team switch. Talk about marriage and working together.
Yeah.
That's why we opened a second office, because we could not work together. It was just becoming too much. We were driving down together. We were at the office all day together.
What's the turning on retainer?
We then drove home.
Space is a real thing.
There was never, and then again, I don't know how to turn it off. So we're constantly talking about work. This gives us a separation. We have 2 separate commutes.
Yeah.
We work for the same company. We do the same thing, but you manage that office with that team. I manage that office with that team, and then we talk about what any executive decisions have to be made.
Oh,
And
that's
that's it.
space. That's
So that was a big thing that saved our marriage.
Space is big
Because it was really difficult. And him leaving his job to then become an accountant and to do what we do, that was hard for me at first, because I felt offended.
Why?
Because it almost felt like he was coming in to say, you can't, because those are his words, you can't manage the office. So at first it was very like, I was offended.
Yeah, a little
And
territorial.
I'm like, what do you mean? And I'm like, this is my business. And I'm like, what the hell? And it took a while for me to understand that.
Okay.
And we were getting a Con Ed shut-off notice, not because we didn't have money, but because I forgot to mail the check, type of deal.
Yeah. So somebody has to do the operations.
So he handles all the back office stuff, and I handle. I'm the product.
You're front facing.
I'm the product.
Yeah, yeah.
I always tell that and now I've learned that, and I appreciate that, and I appreciate him for that.
Right.
Because I wouldn't be able to do what I do successfully if it wasn't for him.
Right.
So I always tell my clients, I'm the shampoo bottle that sits on the shelf,
Okay.
and his job is to stock the shelf, ring me up, pay the sales taxes, bag me, sell me.
It looks like he has a lot more work than you do.
Yeah, I just got to sit here pretty and do what I do.
Okay.
And that's another attribution to success is the fact that when you're allowed to do what you, and this is always what I've always wanted. I never wanted to, be a CEO or no, I wanted to just leave me alone. Let me work with my clients. Let me do what I love to do.
Let me generate. Yeah.
And for me, generation of leads and turning leads into actual clients.
Yeah. Converting them.
It's so natural to me.
Yeah. Well, you have the personality.
It's so natural to me, and I always tell people, if I meet you at a dinner party and you're like, "Oh, you're an accountant," "Oh yeah, well, my guy's been doing my taxes for 20 years," and I'm like, "Don't want you as a client. Don't think I'm telling you this.
I'm not stealing you
so that you can switch. I'm letting you know what I do."
Yeah.
And my favorite saying is, "Don't fix what's not broken." If it's not broken, don't fix it. So if that relationship is good, and
if you've been good for 20 years,
you stay there.
Good. Right, stay good.
Stay good. We could still be friends. I don't have to. Not all my friends and family have to do their taxes with me. Believe me.
Yeah.
So I wish some of them didn't. My best friend, I am not allowed to charge her. But but at least you know what I do, and I'm here in case it breaks.
Yeah. Absolutely.
And that's how it works. I'll be
I'm not here to interfere with any relationships you have going.
I'll be friends.
I'm an option.
I'll be friends with people for years, and then one day I get that phone call.
Mm-hmm.
Joe,
I need you to look at this.
And can you help me? And
right.
I said, of course.
Right.
And then I can't get rid of them.
You're playing the long game. That's actually the smartest game you can play.
That's why December is one of my busiest months. It's holiday party after holiday party after holiday party.
Okay.
I throw one, I get invited to 7, and I have to try to make an appearance to all of them because, again, that's a lot of how things happen. Either people that have worked for me or people that have worked with me or people that I've been hired by has always been in social gatherings.
Okay.
That's my advertising. That's my advertising.
Yeah.
Is put me in a room with a bar and some cocktails
in a room with a bar.
And some wings, and
let me go.
We're gonna have fun, and we're gonna leave this party with at least one client or one lead or a new employee.
Right.
Oh yeah. Rule to the wise. Don't ever introduce.
Word to the wise.
Word to the wise. Don't ever introduce me to your employee if they're really good.
Oh, okay. You're a poacher?
I'm a poacher.
Oh wow. All right, guys.
I am a big poacher. And one of my girls that worked for me told my HR person, she was like, I don't understand. I went into his office with all intentions of quitting, and it's like, I can't quit him.
Right.
And she goes, that's what he does. He mesmerizes you. And I'm like, I'm not doing it on purpose.
That's what I do. Yeah.
But it's like, you walk in, you're like, you know what, the commute, and, I think I'm going to start looking around the job. And I was like, well, what if we try a hybrid schedule? Mm-hmm. What if we try work from home? Let's see how you like it.
And they give you some solutions.
And yeah, that's not. And then she was like, she told me a couple of weeks later, she was like, I had all intentions of leaving and giving you my 2 weeks. And I'm like, you can't quit me.
I'm still here.
You can't quit me. Come on, you love this.
All right, Joe, I can't quit you. When you have a chance, please tell people where to reach you.
Oh my God. Yes, please. For more of this type of content, definitely follow Taxes on Instagram, on TikTok. At jsquaredtax is our handle for social media, Facebook,
YouTube.
YouTube is where we have the ad taxes. The long episodes are there. You'll find like the clips and stuff like that on IG and on TikTok. And again, like I said, I'm here if you need me. Don't fix it if it's not broken.
But you have an option.
But I'm an option, and I'm filled with useless tax advice that lives rent free, and sometimes it disgusts me when I'm talking about it, and I'm like, why do I know this? Like, why do I know these rules? Like, why do I know?
Because you're a professional.
Why do I have this memorized in my head? And I'm like,
hold on.
Really turn me on.
Ask Louis Omar on all platforms. You already know who I am, right? Because we can't seem to finish.